Hi everyone, let's talk about Viscounts of the West Kingdom in all of its forms. Solo, co-op, normal. Yes, this is the third and final game in the West Kingdom trilogy, and you can see playthroughs that I have done for it. I've done at least one solo playthrough, maybe even another one by the time this comes out, to try and redeem myself a little bit. Solo's hard. And I have just finished a cooperative playthrough, which is what you see before you now on kind of half of the screen. But yes, and I've played it multiplayer as well, I just haven't done a playthrough of that one yet. One day, I'm sure there will be playthroughs for everything, anything and everything on this channel. But yeah, if you haven't seen it in action yet, this is just the talkie video. The actual gameplay and everything is linked in the description for those other playthrough videos. So Viscounts kind of hovers between, sometimes it's my favourite of the three games, sometimes Paladins just takes it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'll say that, maybe said a load of times now, that's the first time that I played it. It's maybe, you know, there's a lot of the rules are quite text heavy. They do have examples and stuff. I would say that in the Viscounts rulebook in particular, maybe it's just the way that we specifically had it and the cards that came out had a lot of questions as to how does this interact with that and what does this mean, and like it's not bad at all. You can learn it, and it just required a bit of looking up on BGG for some of these examples, but like how the manuscript score is kind of hidden away just in this example rather than just being kind of explicitly laid out things of this is all of the possible scoring things and this is how they do it. So it is all in there, but I think it could be laid out a little bit better. That aside though, once I kind of got over that initial little hurdle with just the first game, absolutely love it. It is another thing, just like a completely different game to Paladins, but in the same way, all of these kind of different elements crashing together, everything interacting with everything else, and you picking a few of those things to focus on to try and drive home your victory. The merchants is a great kind of factor in there that always lets you get something that will help you on your way to your main strategy and to what you really want, but it can't be the thing that you focus on, and you can't really just go for the buildings and expect to win. You can't just let somebody run riot over the castle as well. It's got to be, you know, you've got to see what other people are doing and see whether you need to get in on that as well, because the castle can be massive. It's a point per person per tier that they are in, so one person just getting to dominate that could be massive for them. But then again, you are rewarding people when they get kicked out of the castle as well, so is that helping them out too much? Is the perfect thing that you need out there worth spending your money to travel all around the board for, or can you wait a couple of turns to do it? There's interaction as well in the way that the buildings come out, in that they always tie up in these pairs where you can grab yourself a bonus. So are you giving someone a really great bonus? Is that suddenly what you want to do on your turn now? Because not only will you get okay, well, this bonus was cool, but now I would get the extra thing as well. I would get to flip a debt and get a deed or something like that. That maybe that will suddenly turn things around, especially if it's towards the end of the game, and maybe you're going to trigger the end of that game. In the competitive game, there is a majority for who flips the most debts or deeds, but only if kind of the opposite thing runs out. So if you've flipped loads of deeds, you want the debts to run out, really, so that you can maximize your points from that. So, but by going into loads of debt yourself, are you just going to lose more points than you would have gained from from just sticking with your tons and tons of flipped deeds? The manuscript sets, yeah, everything just scoring in all of these different ways, and you trying to build up you're trying to deck build your townsfolk, but also not necessarily. You want a nice core of workers that you can keep coming out with, that can keep helping you out, but it's not all about that. You know, being able to dismiss these cards from the board and use their little one-off ability, it's never, you know, a massive thing. It's not going to give you resources and stuff, but it could be just that little nudge that you need. The one virtue might be there and trigger a collision that is going to really help you out, and might not help out other people as well, especially if you've been very virtuous and other people haven't, or if you've been very corrupt and other people haven't. It's going to reward them if you have triggered a collision, but they are kind of inevitable as the game goes on, especially if you know, a surefire way to keep triggering collisions is going to be getting loads of criminals, because you get a corruption for every criminal symbol that's out there, so you could just be kind of looping and gaining loads of debts. I don't know if you can flip them often enough to make that even worth it. So it's a nice, you know, a load of the elements that are present in the other West Kingdom games come back as well, having these criminals as wildcards, but how they come out and how they work is a little bit different. And that's an advantage as well. If you have played the other West Kingdom games, this is the first one that I'd really played. I think I'd played Paladins a while before, but yeah, the symbols and stuff carry across from the other games. You will get a kind of a base level knowledge for picking up the next games from them as well, even though they are, you know, art-wise and setting-wise part of the trilogy, but in terms of their mechanics, very, very different. So much goes into what you want to do on a turn, and without it being, I'd say the most negative reaction is, yeah, triggering this thing, and maybe you're going to cause someone to get a corruption, but that's never, I wouldn't even say it's a particularly negative thing, because you might want that as well. Yeah, it's full of positive ways of interacting in, you know, these putting opportunities up for people. Do you want to go on that space where you're going to cause a collision, which means the other person's going to get to rearrange their player board, which might really, really help them. They might now get to kick out someone that's got a really great reward, or keep on a person that they've just been getting massive use out of, especially when you can, you know, double up the effects of spending resources to do the actions, or get to spend coins for the actions instead. There's so much variety in this, so much kind of depth to your decisions in it. Absolutely fantastic. The solo game works beautifully as well, in that you have got, you know, in a similar way to the Overlord in the playthrough, that they just go around the outside and get to do actions, breaking the rules, getting basically they have a focus that they're going to try and do, but they've got a deck of AI cards. Sometimes they're going to do that, sometimes they're not. And yeah, they get very aggressive about wanting to do that. And in my solo games so far, yeah, I won one practice, but that seemed to be a fluke. It's a very, very tricky thing to get right. But there are difficulty levels in the. It's not explicit in the rules. I don't know why I clapped then. It's going to be terrible for the sound, but for the sound levels. But yeah, there's the difficulty levels, and you can start out with the easier ones. Have a look in the Board Game Geek forums for the easier ones in there. Absolutely fantastic solo mode. I would say for competitive and solo, Paladins just about takes it as my favourite one. But for co-op, I think that Viscounts has it. I love that. You know, the interaction is you, the cooperation is you working out how to stop the Overlord while still trying to earn yourselves points. You can't just run around taking his workers off there. You want to combine that with doing something else. You know, I think all of the cards let you remove workers for doing the merchant action, which is something you probably want to do a bit anyway, because it will get you valuable resources, especially early on, to try and do the better versions of the actions that you haven't got bonuses for yet. But yeah, you want to be trying to stop him in the similar way that the castle works. Once he gets 3 workers in there, one goes left, one goes right, and one goes forwards. And if there's already one forwards, he gets to keep skipping and skipping and skipping until he gets one in the center of the castle, and then you lose the game. And if he doesn't have any workers to put out when he needs to, you lose the game. So there's this ever-present threat that you need to be focused on, that, you know, it seems like he's got a lot of workers at the beginning, but they run out fast. And as soon as he starts to get multiple workers in a space, it starts being harder and harder to remove them. And you can plan out together, you know, the way that it's coming out, okay, those spaces are safe. He can put those in there. It's not going to be too bad for us. Or maybe we really need to try and get rid of this card, but you don't know what's underneath it. It might be something equally terrible. Yeah, it's a lovely amount of pressure in it. You know, the other games have got, you know, trading resources between them and stuff, and are fantastic in their own co-op way. But I think Viscounts in particular, I really like the kind of hurrying along and the advanced planning you can try and do, and try and avoid getting some of these cards gone, because there's a kind of roadmap of where he's going to go at the moment, as long as these cards stay where they are. But of course, you want to buy cards to boost your actions. You want to buy them to improve your decks. So yeah, it's all got to go away. And the removing the majorities from the prosperity and the poverty cards, and now they just give straight points for being able to do these things. Oh, they should have removed workers. So it should have been a little bit easier towards the end of that playthrough, actually. When you reveal the prosperity or poverty card, it removes overlord workers from the spaces, which is a great little thing as well. So another incentive to end the game before the overlord overwhelms everything. But that thing of always, can I end the game yet? If I end the game yet, have I got those 160 points? Am I just ending the game to make it end in a defeat? Which works absolutely beautifully. I'll say, yeah, other than that kind of little hurdle for learning it, it's been absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I'd recommend you watch the playthrough if you still haven't. Try and give it a go when you can, because it's absolutely fantastic. Thanks for watching, though, and yeah, maybe there'll be some more expansions and things to cover some more West Kingdom at some point. I hope so. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye.